Hey book friends, I want to hop on here and say thank you for being here. I am new to the YouTube community. I'm fairly new to the book community as well. Not that I'm a new reader, but that I am new to the social media side of book reviews. And I just want to say I'm happy to be here, and I am a newbie, so bear with me. I am going to, in the very likes of Books Are Sick with Nick, I want to just do a one take on the first video. I would love to just get through this first one and then let's evolve from there. But I wanted to get on here and talk about a few books, do a book wrap from April. I technically have not done any updates for what I've been reading in April, so none of you would even know that I read these. And there's some books I just hate to let go and not talk about. So let's do that today. It is the beginning of May, so now would be a great time to go ahead and do a wrap up for April. The first couple books that I read happened to be NetGalley books, and I want to thank them first and foremost because they were so kind to send me several books through the month of April, to the point where some of my own books I had to put to the side, and I'm putting them off until probably mid-May because I'm also in a book club. Those two books I wanted to read, but they were not on my TBR. And so now I am in those two books, and we'll talk about that more later. The first book that NetGalley sent me, in fact, these are not in actually book order in the way that they sent them to me. So let's just start with the first one I have listed. The first one I have listed is Pack Light. It was a beautiful story of this woman trying to decide if she wanted to go on this long hike. I believe it was from Georgia to New Jersey or New York. And she wanted to know, as a Black woman, could she do this hike alone? And she got on a blog post, went to bed, woke up to just a lot of pushback. And this book is her journey to doing it anyway, and the people that supported her and the people that were against her. And I think it's just a beautiful book for anyone to read. But you can take it to heart and use it in your own life, of stepping up for the things that you are told you can't do and do it anyway. And that was one of the things I loved about this book. It was just a feel-good, it was an adventure. It was women doing things that people tell them they cannot do. It was Black women doing things they cannot, were being told they cannot do. And that just felt good to me. I did rate it a 4-star, which is fantastic rating. It's definitely worth a pick up. That one comes out sometime later this month, in fact, later in May. You'll have to check on that on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, Books A Million and all those, and Barnes and Nobles. The next book I'm going to talk about is A Haunted Girl. It's technically not a book. It's a comic book that was sent to me by NetGalley. And I read a lot of comic books. In the last couple years, I've kind of pulled away from it a little bit. And this was a great coming back into that. And it felt good. Out of all the comic books that I could have gotten my hands on, NetGalley knocked this one out the park. I rated this one a 5-star. It does release later in the year. I'm not sure the release date on that, but you can definitely stay tuned. It's Ethan Sachs and Naomi Sachs, and notice their last names are the same. There's a reason to that. This is about a girl who is haunted by life in general. There's technically 2 stories going on. I don't want to give away too much, but there's 2 stories going on. And because of the in-between story, I won't talk about that piece, but the main comic book story that these 2 people write together, it is just so fun. She's haunted by life, she's haunted by ghosts, and her dad is at all costs trying to save her. Her and her therapist, or him and her therapist, are trying to get her through these very difficult times. And she's been in the hospital for a while. She's been released to come back to school and come back home. And this is her adventure into that transition. It's a great story. I highly recommend picking it up. It was a fast read. I loved it. I would actually, Ethan Sachs has other comics out there, like a lot of Star Wars books. I don't read a lot of Star Wars, but I would read another style of, I'll definitely be interested in looking at the next thing he puts out, especially if he puts it out with his daughter. That was fantastic. The next book I want to talk about, Under the Whispering Door. I always have to look at the covers of these because I am kind of wanting to make sure there's a reason why I need to look at this one. Under the Whispering Door was one of 2 or 3 TJ Klune books I read in April. This one got me. This was a hard read for me. And if you read my reviews on this, you'll see that I'm going through a difficult time with loss in my own life right now. And this book deals with that in-between gray area of living and that passing through the door of whatever you might believe to be the afterlife. And it was heartwarming. It was emotional. There's one relationship in there with a mother and daughter, and that one hit hard for me right now. And it just, if you had just a little bit of time, what would you do with it? If you knew what that time frame was, what would you do with it? And it really, this whole book, the whole way walking through made me think more about my life, and not just the circumstances I'm going through right now with my daughter, but some other things in general. It's just like, what would I do differently that I've done in the past? How do I want to move forward and do things differently? And I found that so thought-provoking that I gave this book a 5-star. It was the second book I've read by TJ Klune. I will be reading a lot more of TJ Klune. I love his writing. It is a comfort read. I will say when I would dip into the Audible version, it was done more of a long, drawn-out storytelling, so the speaker was more slow, and that was a little bit daunting. So I bumped it up to roughly 1.1, 1.2, just to kind of get the voice to have an average pace and the narrator. And I tell you, it was really good. And then just coming back into the book to read it, you didn't lose, sometimes when you listen to an audiobook, they ruin your voice in your head. And then when you try to come back to the book, it just doesn't work. Well, it wasn't the case here. I could hear the narration. I felt the book so deeply that it was easy to go back and forth. But this book was definitely a thought-provoking book. And while it's not like a nonfiction, lyrical written book, it's a fantastic work of fiction in a lyrical way that made you think and pull at the heartstrings. So I recommend that one. 5. Then I read Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which was a actual book 2 of this book. I will say book 2 is going to come out in just a really dope sprayed edge. You can actually see it on a couple sites already of what that release looks like. It's coming out September 10th. NetGalley gave me the release on that, so I do want to put that out there and say thank you again for yet another fantastic release. I did give another TJ Klune book a 5-star. He's fantastic. I'm so glad I stumbled across him, and I would not have done that had it not been for NetGalley. His covers look so fun, and I really had no choice. Realized I'm going to read many more books by him. I only read the excerpt, so I wasn't able to read the full book, but I can say Under the Whispering Door was pulling at the heartstrings and deep conversation. Somewhere Beyond the Sea was lighter. My husband laughed at me because I was in bed just laughing. He even texted our children, your mother is just in bed laughing right now. The jokes were comical. They were childlike. But the book didn't feel childlike. It was a family-centric book. And I really enjoyed this book. I will definitely be reading it when it comes out. It was a 5-star for me. Again, that's book 2, Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Loved it. Another NetGalley book, The Stone Witch of Florence. I enjoyed this book quite a bit. It became a 4-star rating for me. There's a plague going basically through the city, and there's people that pick up the bodies and take them to this field to dump them, or this space to dump them. And there's the one that is the one we get to meet in the book. And he is so funny. In fact, I would like to see more of him because the book almost needed that comic relief. Kind of like if you're watching a very serious movie, but then you've got this one character that's just not taking anything serious. including a death situation, that was this book. I absolutely had a great time. There was moments of laughter, and then there was moments of what the hell. But it is about this witch that being nurtured by this one lady that takes her in as a mentee and helps mentor her. And then she gets taken to basically, I would call this a nunnery within this city. And she kind of finds herself. She finds love. She loses love. She finds herself. And this journey is really, it was really great. I had a great time with it. That one actually, because the cover on it looks beautiful. And again, sprayed edges. Out of the month of April, Packlight, A Haunted Girl, which was the comic, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, book 2, and The Stone Witch of Florence. That was 4 NetGalley books. So I'm really thankful. And I'm thankful that all 4 of them were amazing to read. What am I currently reading? That's what we always want to know. Okay, I am in a book club through Patreon with Books Are Sick with Nick. My husband and I follow him on YouTube, and he has a much more established YouTube and just enjoyable to watch. And his reviews of books are relatable to me. And my husband and I just love sitting back and watching him. We want that, you know, a few moments together. And I'm doing his 2 books that he started with his book club for the month. So again, it's another month where my TBR is sitting. But Stephen King's Gunslinger series. I read book 1 and I was like, okay, I enjoyed it. And I'm thankful that I've read it. And I can say I've read Gunslinger. How cool of me. I read the comics. That was fun. But the book was just kind of dry. So I was fine with being done. Drawing of the Three by Stephen King, book 2. Absolutely wonderful book of the Gunslinger series. I am enjoying book 2 quite a bit. I started reading together in his book club is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I may go pick up the Drawing of the Three tonight. I'm gonna pick this one up. It's so floppy and fun. I had a hair tie in here holding it. Then a slow read so far, but enjoyable. I will say the words in both this book and Drawing of the Three, there's a few more I'm actually having to look up. I'm not the best speller, and I definitely am not a lyrical poet by any stretch. So big, deep, meaningful words, descriptive words aren't always where you're going to find me at home. So I'm pretty much it right now. There'll be more on my TBR for the month of May. But right now, the Drawing of the Three and The Secret History, those are the 2 that I'm currently reading. The Secret History is around a little over $5.50. It'll put me reading probably 2 to 3 more books. I don't read like 100 books a year like some people do. I read, in fact, my challenge through Goodreads this year was only to be 20 because I really didn't think I was going to hit it, and I've already hit it for the year. But typically I don't push to hit 100, and I'm still not doing that this year because if I'm at 20 now and it's May and I've got a big move from North Carolina to Texas this year, my guess is I'd get somewhere between another 15 and 20 books this year. And I would love to talk to you about any books you're reading, any that you suggest for me. Might enjoy reading. I want to thank you for being here. Again, my name is Christy. I'm with Tatted Hat Girl Reads. I am new to YouTube, and I thank you for sticking with me. I hope you subscribe. And if you like this video, want to see more of them, want to see me grow, like this video, please. That it gives me encouragement, not just a YouTube algorithm but lets me know that, hey, this was fun. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.